Ba, ba, ba. Hey, how are you? What's been going on? Sha 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 no. Sha 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 no.
This is Buick now. Buick, exceptional high design. It's all about the Buick SUV sales event. Get 0.9% APR and up to $2,000 allowance on Encore GX.
My moderate to severe Crohn's symptoms kept me out of the picture. Now I have Skyrizi. But are you willing to compromise within a relationship?
What is compromising? Compromising for what? Compromising for what reason?
What?
To compromise?
Yeah, I did get a text from you.
To compromise.
I know I was
What is
super busy.
compromise?
I've just been super busy. I'm not sure if things are going to go back to normal for me. It just seems like I'm very busy after I had all that stuff happen. Seems like someone is always
Think about that one again.
messaging me.
A man comes into my life and you have to compromise for what? For what? For what?
Salute, salute, salute.
For
You know, salute to the brothers in the Patreon. I was in a Patreon.
I don't even be
we was
lying a
chopping
lot.
it up about an Earth the Kid, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna do a video on her. And
Well, what did you
not
want?
you know,
I know you
go
wanted
too
to ask
deep
her
into her
questions, but I
past,
think she
where
answered
she
them,
was born at,
right?
you know,
She
how she got
answered
into show business. No, I'm
all
just
your
going to
needs.
talk about this right here, and it's very important, black men, because for years all they did was throw dirt on, you know, the black man's image, and there was really no pushback when it came to this situation right here. You got a bunch of Keishas online who was reporting what
What the
what
fuck?
Earth the Kid said about Harry Belafonte, but they never pointing out the elements, because pointing out the elements of their relationship will make her look foolish, and it will tell the story of, well, how does that make sense when the facts are put out there? So what I'm talking about is
Can she fix
in
the
her
delay?
biography, she said that she thought
I don't think she can right
Harry
now.
Belafonte was handsome.
Not without significant
They met in New York
cost.
City, right? You know, talking, stuff like that. And then when they were in Philadelphia, they met each other, and basically he took on the Tizzy tour, right? After the Tizzy tour, right, she said that he went to the bed, told her to get out of the bed, out of nowhere, just get out of the bed. And after he said that, he proceeds to tell her no black woman could do anything for him, right? They were dating in the early 50s. They were dating in the early 50s.
Cost, yeah.
What was his life like in the early 50s? Why would he say that? You know why he wouldn't say that? He was already married to a black woman. He was already married to a black woman. And yeah, he was taking, you know, he's an actor, like most of these actors when they go on the road. He was going to, you know, having a fling here or fling there. And, you know, she knew about it. She knew that he was a married man. And she still went along with it and got taken on the Tizzy tour.
How long is the delay?
Because it's Harry Belafonte. It's Harry Belafonte. So she knew.
I can't remember the number that she put out.
But I guess she wanted.
I know it was kind of big.
To leave his wife for her, and that wasn't happening. So instead of just keeping it moving and realizing you're just a booty call, she just come out of nowhere and said, "Oh, he wasn't into black women." And they turned this, right? These Keishas.
Can I ask?
When they do the story on this right here, they turned it into, oh, wait a minute. This makes sense because he was married to Becky's. And then they start naming the Beckys that he was married to, not realizing those Beckys were later. His wife, his first wife, was a Keisha. And the relationship was seriously rocky. And her name was Marguerite Bird. Now, this is Marguerite right here. This is her right here. This is her right here. Her right here. You know, and if you notice, right, a lot of these pictures don't have Harry Belafonte in it. Harry Belafonte and Marguerite Bird are in a few photos, but not as many photos as the ones as the photos he had.
So me texting him didn't do anything?
You know why?
It did.
You know why
I can tell you that.
Right?
It definitely did do
Because
something.
She didn't respect his profession. Their major, and I should do a separate story on that, but her major gripe with him was that he was an actor.
Huh?
And she was studying to earn
What do you mean?
her what? Her PhD.
What do you mean can I
in
read it?
psychology. And
Oh,
she
you mean on
thought
my
that
phone.
acting was not a practical career path to follow. She expected him to grow out of it and get a real job guaranteeing a steady income. This is them in the beginning. And he turned out to be one of the biggest actors, an icon. He turned out to become an icon later. But in the beginning, she wanted him to grow out of it. She didn't support him. She was like, it's all about this PhD. And before you know it, they kept, their relationship just became more and more unstable. And while he was on tour, he would, take women on Tizzy tours. The relationship wasn't a good relationship because she just was not trying to support her, right? So when he got with Eartha Kitt wasn't a relationship. It was just a booty call. And she was married. I mean, he was married already. He was already married. So throwing that he was, no black woman could do anything for him when he was
Your
already
previous
married
question.
to a black woman. He was married to
How long is
her
the delay?
from
I'd have to
1948
ask her.
to 1957, almost a decade. So what was the point of throwing that out there when that had nothing to do with what's going on with them? It was to throw dirt on the black man's image to make it look like the only thing they wanted was Becky's. But he wasn't married to Becky. He was married to a Keisha who did not want to follow him, who didn't support him, right? But all in all, he was still married to her. So why nobody talks about that? Why nobody say, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense? But all this talk about, Eartha Kitt and, how black man is always chasing after Becky. You know who she ends up marrying in 1960? You know who she ends up marrying in 1960? She ends up marrying John William McDonald, also known as Bill McDonald, on June 1960. The jokes write themselves. Yes. This is who she ends up marrying. Right here. All this talk about black men and their preference, and this is who she ends up marrying. Plenty of black men out there that were married. First of all, black men weren't nowhere near as close today when it comes to marrying out, not even close. So her assessment of black men dealing with Becky's was only based off of Hollywood itself. And what I mean by Hollywood, right, was basically, if you saw in Hollywood, you seen black men with Becky's. You saw black men marrying Becky's. And you know why? You know why you seen those type of brothers marrying? Because they understood what was going on. They understood what other brothers didn't catch on. They understood the Brad worship of these Keishas. They seen it everywhere. They seen it before Hollywood, and they especially seen it a lot in Hollywood. They saw the Brad worship.
I'll do it if it helps
They
him reach
saw the
out
flag
faster,
worship.
what's
They saw
today?
all these Hollywood
Okay, let's try and do a
and they
deal.
saw the
If
flag
nothing
worship.
moves
You saw
forward
them always
by the end
bashing
of this month,
black men.
we can go ahead and start looking at that kind of
We go on
cost-based
and
stuff.
on
But I feel like something's
you
going to
know,
come
these
up.
early Hollywood Keishas that just kept bashing black. I could do a whole video on that. They saw that. And when they saw that, they like, well, why give it? You know, why even what's the point? Right? But still, all in all, that was a very small portion of black men. Come on, we talking about Hollywood in the 50s. There was plenty of black men out there. So what was the issue? The issue was she wanted Harry. And Harry was already married and he wasn't leaving his wife for her. And that's just it. So instead of just, dealing with her feelings and, keep it moving, hey, you scorned, so what? A black minute is a black. And that's what they do today. That's what they do today. I just did a video, last week, where a streamer, this Keisha, who was her claim to fame was being on American Next Top Model 20 years ago in 2005, right? Walks up to a streamer and tells him that she was an American Next Top Model. And what is it that he got going on? Walking up to him like she's doing him a favor. And when she asked this total stranger to give her a kiss, right? He said no. And then she crashed out. And one of the things she said was, he probably doesn't even have a black girlfriend. Because she got spurned, because she got, her feelings, were affected by being rejected. They can't take rejection. So instead of just, keeping it moving, you just got to throw the black man's image under the bus because your feelings is hurt. And that's what happened here. Keisha don't change, man. That's what happened here. Her relationship with Harry Belafonte was a booty call. And instead of just keeping it instead of just, telling the truth, she want to go and say that, oh, he wasn't into black women when he was already married to one at the time. Married to one at the time. And they don't point this out. That's what's funny. They don't point this out. Now, her relationship to him didn't last long. Didn't last long.
Comes in more chicken, even more chicken. And who approved this amount of chicken? The new KFC value piece. There's DNA. Then there's heavy-duty DNA. HDNA. Get 1,000 purchase cash on this scared heavy-duty 44.9% APR. My moderate to severe Crohn's symptoms kept me out of the picture. With Skyrizi, feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks. Many people were in remission at 12 weeks, at 1 year, and even at 4 years.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for cause.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi.
1960, she got married, right? And in 1964, they ended up
Learn the
getting
therapy
divorced.
from it.
So what? So who's the problem here? Who's the problem? She said, "Oh, why compromise? For a man, this the hyena laugh, Well, that's what relationships are about. They're about compromise. Anybody in a relationship understand that. Men compromise the most in relationships, right? Men, they have to really, tone, their lives. They really got to domesticate themselves in these relationships. When you look at a man and his happiest moments were when he wasn't married.
Exclusive.
Ask any
What?
man.
Oh,
What was his
I recognize
happiest
that
moments?
person.
And I bet you it doesn't have anything
Why does
to do
chat think
with
women
him
liking
being married,
genuine
having children.
people
It
who
was
aren't
before
obsessed
he
with
was
looks is a
married,
lie?
when he was out there living a carefree
Well,
life,
Deadeye,
traveling.
you see, in this modern age, well, I don't know, maybe it's also like the VTuber space, but I found that like I don't know, I guess the crowd around VTuber type spaces, they are just profoundly socially destroyed people. So I don't know. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's kind of what brings a lot of people into VTuber spaces, I think. I mean, Samsko kind of laid it out that, he's done with humanity, which is kind of why he would be brought to Sophie. So I get the appeal. But yeah, there's just a lot of people out here who are kind of checked out of humanity. So, it's to the point where we are in a point where most Discord servers, if you say a perfectly normal thing, I don't know, they'll think that you're just making it up, and they'll try and get you banned or something. I can't tell if Semsko is a real human. He's definitely real. He's just in the sciences, which people who are in the sciences are already kind of not that good with interpersonal stuff. It kind of reminds me of Guilty, actually. A very strong mind for certain things. It's just with people, they kind of they have some issues. What? A 17-year-old, I am very smart individual. No. What's going on there? If Samsko is being for real, they might have some problems, but who doesn't, I guess? Correct. That's kind of why I was just post, bro. I already knew he was kind of on something, so I just let him get it out of his system. But yeah, everyone's got their hang-ups. They just need to not scare the hoes. That's all I really care about. And now Guilty is freaking out in my DMs right now. Let's see, did they fix it? Or what?
She could go and get another man if she wanted to.
Everyone in Discord goes wild.
She was somebody. She can get another man. She could have got a boyfriend. She didn't want that.
Yeah, it's a nice place to
She's
vent.
like these pieces
What's
that
Guilty
they-
freaking out about? Yeah, the 30-year-old girl, Junie. Yes, she's. Hey, you gotta understand, me and Guilty. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like when we talk. Okay, when I leaked the stuff that I did from our DMs, you gotta understand, we always talk like that with each other. At first, I tried to talk normally to her. But yeah, I guess I got swept up in her LARP. But she, I don't know, she's just freaking out. She keeps saying that if Junie lives with me, she has to cut Junie off because she's a liability and blah, blah, blah. I've already told Guilty that I'm not gonna, like, use her to I'm not about to move to New York just to be with someone just so I can get closer to her Discord circle. Like, mind you, I already have like 5 billion connections, like right in Guilty's server, which is what I mean by her being like bonkers, because I don't know what we're talking about. Other than that, I think Guilty really cares about Junie, like in a caretaker way. So I think she feels like Junie separating from her to live with me. Mind you, they don't even live together. But she feels like it's a slight against her or something to see someone that she deems as incapable doing something that she can't, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, it's very complicated. I mean, she just told me that she gives up or something. This is way long. It's the week, like you said, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Him contacting me, visiting, then moving later this summer. I'm okay with this. Him contacting me this summer. So please, Gormery. I think you'll get a message from her at midnight. Right now, I definitely can't ask her.
man was married at the time when he was with her. And he was married to a black
Oh
woman,
my God.
which means all that other stuff she was talking about goes right out the door. And the reason why it goes right out the door because she's talking about he catches old white flies, he wants to be with Becky's. How is that when he's with his wife and he's taking you on a tizzy tour? He's taking you on a tizzy tour. He's not taking a Becky on a tizzy tour. He's taking you on a tizzy tour. So what white flies were he catching? Oh, you mean later? When he realized that dealing with them is nothing but headache, heartaches.
Okay.
But at the moment,
High Priestess, I already told you at like midnight.
Let's look at his spouse.
You will have to wait
Here's the proof.
to hear back from her
Marguerite Bird,
at midnight.
married 1948, divorced 1957.
Why is it getting hot?
Huntrix meal is now at McDonald's.
With Balmain McShaker fries, 10-piece chicken McNuggets, and a drink. Oh, plus 2 of them sauces.
And sick photo cards.
And it's totally better than Ciderless breakfast, so pick our meal.
And participating McDonald's while supplies last.
The Lumify effect. One drop dramatically reduces redness for brighter, whiter-looking eyes that make you go, wow. Lumify works in 1 minute and lasts up to 8 hours. See what all the hype is about with the one and only Lumify.
What do you think the average person forgets about investing? How much it could actually shape their future's potential. Acorns designed the potential screen to show you how investing anything from $5 a day to just your spare change could actually impact your future. Don't forget your potential. See it with Acorns.
And then he married.
I'm
Julie
still trying to
Robinson,
decipher
57, and they
what she
divorced
meant
in
to me.
2004. Sheesh. They was together a long time. And then, he married Pamela Frank in 2008. That was his last wife. But there's the proof right here. What are they talking about? Not making any sense. But ultimately, this is what it is. Thing, right? When you look at Harry Belafonte and Julie Robinson, right? She was behind him. She was under his leadership. She was marching with him, doing the civil rights movement. She was in the thick of it. She always supported him, supported his career.
What is going on?
And that's the reason why that marriage lasted almost 50 years. They were married for 47 years. 47 years.
What am I reading?
She was always behind him, ready to support him in his endeavors. And that's what he understood. That's what he understood. So there's no way he said that with him being married already to Keisha.
Oh no, nothing.
Wouldn't have made
I was
any
talking
sense.
about
She knew he
whatever
was-
my
it
ex is
wouldn't have
sending
made any
me.
sense.
You're asking me
That-
as
that
well?
marriage wasn't
I gotta
private.
do I gotta do my
Everybody
stuff
knew he was
for
married.
money. I can't
Marguerite
do
Bird,
free
and
stuff
this is-
all
this is
day.
how trifling she
I have to do
She used to go
like the
out
actual things
and meet up with his
on my
associates.
docket or
People
meet my
that he did
deadlines
business with.
because I actually have been getting
Take
in
pictures,
trouble
you've seen them
on one of
with
my jobs
bands and
because like I'm
groups.
not doing enough of my things in a certain time frame, so they get very mad.
Yeah, for the club.
So I have to.
Just didn't want to
make
be
my
under
money.
his leadership. She benefited from it.
I mean, since we're both gonna meet each other in New
She
York
used to be
anyway,
at these,
I have to
these,
make sure I
these
meet that mark.
meetings these prominent meetings that
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if this guy that you met 5 months ago will ever contact you again. Going by your cards, the Justice card in the primary position and reversed does kind of establish what you've already laid out, that both of you have been in a bit of a situationship, but there hasn't been much follow-up. The Hanged Man in the secondary position is showing that due to its reverse nature that he is starting to think about you. It seems like he's kind of struggling with those thoughts, since it seems that he seemed to believe that it was just going to be a one-time thing. But it does seem like that's changing. Four of Wands in the final position is actually confirming that he will actually try to see if he can meet with you again in the near future. I would expect for this to take place sometime during the summer. So if you want to know more details about when to expect this kind of reunification to occur during summer, as well as your compatibility with each other, you can give me a call or send me a message. Please send the message. Oh, thank God. Okay. This person has definitely asked about Teresa like multiple times. I answered a question about Teresa at like 7 a.m. and they're still asking questions about Teresa. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if Teresa will move out like she says, even though right now she hasn't really done anything. Going by your cards, the Emperor in the primary position does show that right now it doesn't seem like she's taking any action, which kind of follows up with what you said. The Wheel of Fortune, however, in the secondary position does confirm that things will be changing very soon with that dynamic. So it does seem like she is about to move out. Three of Pentacles, however, in the final position in reverse, does show that due to her delays, it does seem like she'll run into some problems when it comes to actually executing her move out. So this could be anything from the logistics to where she's actually going to end up being. Now, if you want to know more about what the future holds for Teresa, as well as any other complications that might come up, you can give me a call or send me a message. I mean, as long as I do like 2 or 3 or something, I think I'm on tap. Because I think they monitor. I think they monitor my phone or something. So as long as I'm doing like 2 or 3 every little bit, because I used to have a pace.
Gave her a chance.
So as long as I'm making my pace, I should be okay.
You know who said, you know what? I seen what they, I wasn't.
Just is it? It must be like Easter weekend or something. Is Easter like coming up or something? Or I thought it already happened. Like it just feels like this week has been very busy. Deadeye, are you still there? Or are you gone?
Where she played this, this randy old lady named Lady Eloise. The movie came out in 1992, and this was her getting back into it after being blacklisted since '68. Oh, but did Eddie Murphy catch the white flies then when he gave you a life rap? What was going on here? But she didn't talk about that. She didn't say anything about that. She didn't say, hey, he saved me at the lowest point because she's older now, and he gave her an opportunity to get back in the spotlight. She didn't bring it up. It's whatever, right? Buttons.
Louisiana teachers, they show up every day. Now we can show up for them by voting yes on Amendment 3. Voting yes on 3 delivers permanent raises for teachers and school staff. Voting yes pays down wasteful debt and frees hundreds of millions of dollars that our local schools put straight in the classroom. On May 16th, vote yes for teacher pay raises and more money for our schools.
God, she's really bothering me with that message. Oh my God. Oh, Easter's over? Yeah, I knew that. Am I okay with... Are you okay with my compromise?
Find me a 3-bedroom home in Atlanta, near a Whole Foods.
What's your
Show me the
compromise?
kitchen. Ready to see what you will find with Homes AI?
Did you send me something? A compromise.
My life, where I felt like black men were such failing so badly. I was young. I was very young, so I was 19, by the way. So I was a kid. But that I thought that black men were failing so immensely that I did, for a moment, think, see how white men marry easy. White men help their families easy. White men their wives benefit from their partnership easy. I did see that, and I was caught up in that that idea in regard to how white men like they do it better than niggas don't figure it out early enough, and they waste time, blah blah blah. So I went with the white man, but I realized, because I take accountability and everything, like all of these, this was a systematic way of thought, and I should have understood why black men are the way they are, and that all the systematic, the domino effects that put them in their situations like that. And the only reason why white men are the saviors for the moment is because society allows them to be. So once I deconstructed that, I went back to black men, and I'm here to stay.
Salute the black men. First of all, I want to say the patience of these brothers. I honestly don't know how they do it. Sitting up there with these Keishas, talking reckless. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. When KS was around, the patience, man. I used to look at the videos and be like, I don't know how he's still talking to him. But anyway, this video, right, is making its rounds, right? These brothers, right? This is the channel right here. Chew the Fat with Smooth Podcast and Call Me Shape. I never heard of these brothers before.
It's really funny.
This is the first time me, learning about their channel.
Okay, compromise. Him contacting me, staying in contact, visiting, not moving until the summer, Tennessee, and working for Vanessa. I don't need to jump ship to New York immediately. It's me being impatient. So I'll make a couple of sacrifices. Plus, that helps everyone even... Yeah, I think that would be better. You should go ahead with that.
They're really not doing any justice because, they too busy trying to tiptoe around the real issue, the root of the problem. And the reason why is because they got Keisha subscribers, and they don't want to piss off their Keisha subscribers. And I don't care because we know this is a no Keisha zone, so I really don't care. So I'm just going to tell it how it is, and let's get to it. Let's just get to it. Let's go.
I'm Tina. I'm from West Philly.
That's all I got there.
Nice. Okay. Let's get everybody's ages on the table.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How you gonna do that?
Ooh.
Well, you are up here. I mean, we all sit up here. I guess that is.
Will everything work out? These questions go crazy. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're mainly wanting to know if everything will work out. Going by your cards, the Hermit in the primary position, it does show that right now, when it comes to your current situation, you have tried to play it safe and kind of keep your hand close to your chest in terms of what things you can do, how you can go about completing your objective. But you need to keep in mind that not taking action can actually be even worse than making a bad decision. Queen of Pentacles in the secondary position is also building upon that by saying that you are very good in your current situation, but you've kind of outgrown it. So it probably is time to go ahead and make a firm decision. Five of Swords, however, in the final position is also warning you to make sure that you're very careful with how you choose to proceed. Since some options may seem more tempting than others, but I think you should be careful to not choose something that seems either too easy or too difficult of a task to take on. Now, if you want to know more about what the future holds for you further down the line, as well as any problems that may arise in your life, you can give me a call or send me a message. Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. If I got coming across that a lot.
What's that supposed to mean? It's just babble. It's just babble. What do you mean by being honest? You got dudes lying to you? See, this is the reason why dudes, they're so done, having conversations with Keisha. That's why I don't understand, when these podcasts pop up with these Keishas, you already know where it's going. It's just a bunch of word salad. They don't even know what they're talking about. You ask that English guy, hey, why you single? Because I want to date, multiple women. I don't want to be tied down anymore. Or, I was married, and I was in a relationship for 10, 15 years, and I just want to be free. It's simple. Simple. All this collaborative, my energy, manifesting, you sound crazy. Let's go.
I'm big on integrity, so it's like.
Big on integrity.
You find some lying-ass men out here.
Yeah. I guess.
Good enough. Good enough. Go ahead, Shay. What you got?
Me, I'm single, but I'm dating. Yeah, I'm dating.
See?
I'm not in any long-term commitments, but.
Would you prefer to be in a long-term commitment or?
When the time is
Simple. You see how he answered that? Simple. Let's go.
right. When the time is right. But I'm enjoying the company of the women I'm talking to, so shout out to them.
How many first dates do you go?
I try not to do more than 3. Yeah.
Wait. All right, I'm even first.
That's dates before sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
First dates with dates. Yeah, she means I try not to do more than 3 dates before sex, so. But it happens sometimes.
Okay.
You gotta nip those in the book.
I don't date.
You don't date?
Yeah, not right now.
That meaning she gets straight to the tizzy. You know why she don't date? Because nobody is dating her. Nobody's taking her out. Nobody is courting her. So it's straight to the tizzy. That's it. Straight to the tizzy. Yeah, that's what she means.
Yeah.
You don't.
I was in a relationship for a long time.
What's a long time?
9 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
How far was that go?
Off and on.
that's quite long.
Okay, that sounds tumultuous.
Yeah, it was tumultuous.
What happened?
I took a lot of accountability.
We'll see.
We just didn't
Right, we'll see.
work out. He was younger than me too. I will
How
give
much
him grace
younger?
for that. 6 years younger than me.
6 years.
Yeah.
And how old was he at the time?
He was like 24 at the time,
He was sweet.
and I was late 20s. However, he had better qualities as a younger person than I saw him.
When, you know what? I'm not even going to harp on the age thing.
With my peers at the time,
Not now.
and I
right?
actually still do.
Wait.
Yeah,
You said he was 24
he was 24 at the time. I was in my
when you
yeah.
met, or when
He
you
was 23. Yeah, he was we were 20. He was 23,
And you were
When I met.
29. Okay.
and he was in his 30s when we ended.
Okay.
Yeah,
You said you had a 6-year difference?
yeah, we had a 6 year
Damn. You was
So
right
I-
in the cradle. It's like,
Maybe, yeah. So I did give him. So that explains the time, because I was giving him some like time to like do his thing or whatever, and it was a good type of relationship for me, because it was like it was kind of arm's length too,
and how long did the relationship last, you said?
off and on, about 9 years
9 years. Okay. And when did you end it?
recently.
Like less than a year ago?
Yes, that's the
Okay. She just gave out her age. I got all the information. Exactly. Those are good. She's washed. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So, yeah.
But all right. So I get that part of it. So you said you take accountability, and
Yeah.
you're saying it was the age gap.
I think it was the age gap. Yeah.
You wanted a lot more.
Yeah. By the time he got to a point that I felt like he should have been at, he wasn't there. Like he didn't meet that mark.
Okay.
And I realized it wasn't about his age. This is just the type of person he is.
Right. That happens. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people are just not ambitious.
Yeah, and it took me a really long time to figure that out.
Were you trying to
It took
build
a lot
it?
of time.
Hmm.
That accountability just flew out the door, right? Remember, she said she got with him. What she was saying, that he had his stuff together, and then it turned to he just wasn't doing enough. He wasn't at the stage that she wanted him to be at. This is a dude that's 6 years younger than her. 6 years younger than her. So, in other words,
Yes, you don't need much. No.
A younger guy. And she's talking about accomplishments, especially financially. What do you expect out of a younger guy? Younger men make less money than older men. They're less accomplished because it takes time to build. So what was you looking for? In 9 years and still no marriage? No engagement, nothing. She was just out here playing house, just like the rest of these Keishas, playing house. That's it.
No, I wasn't trying to build, because he was already at a point. He was already at a point.
Look. What does that mean? What's that mean?
He fit where he was accomplished to be a young person, but then he hit a.
See, this is why you pay attention to what these Keishas be saying, because when you really analyze what they're saying, they're just contradicting themselves. That's all they do. They'll say one thing, and then in the next breath, it goes against exactly what she just said. Now listen to this. Watch this.
Hit a cat and just didn't do anything after that. Does that make sense?
No.
Left involved in the next few months. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if you will find love in the next few months. Going by your cards, the Magician in the primary position and reversed, it does show that right now, things aren't really hitting off for you right now. However, the Judgment card in the secondary position and reversed does show that any attempts or little interactions that you've been having or having right now are going to pay off a bit further along the line. So most likely within the next few months, you'll start to see something pick up. Now, Queen of Swords is warning, due to it being reversed, that a lot of the things that will come back to you when it comes to these connections, they won't really go anywhere. However, there will be one person in particular who it seems will actually develop something with you that's pretty meaningful. So I do think this would leave 2 months. Oh my god, I lost my word. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if you will find love in the next few months. Going by your cards, the Magician in the primary position and reversed currently shows that right now, nothing's really happened other than a few passing interactions. However, the Judgment card does say, due to it being reversed, that these little interactions here or there with these people will pay off a bit further down the line. So you do need to be prepared for a lot of these individuals that you're kind of meeting or having these moments with to kind of go somewhere. Queen of Wands. Oh my god. And I say the wrong card. I'm tweaking. Please start an Etsy. I was looking at making an Etsy, but I don't know. Basically, I have two choices of things I can buy into right now. One would be a new psychic place called Keen. Since I think you have to pay like $75 just to apply to their business, and then you have to pay like $25 or like $30 just to keep a listing with them every month. So I have to do either that, or I would pay some kind of fee for Etsy, but I don't know enough right now about where that would go necessarily. And I'm trying to get these jobs under wraps, which, with the way this one job is going, with me juggling like 2 phone lines right now, I mean, I might have to cut the phone line thing or severely change my schedule with it. So I don't think I could fit in Etsy right now. I'd have to, basically the things that I would sell on Etsy, I could like literally sell those from a tarot reading. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know, will you find love in the next few months? Going by your cards, the Magician in the primary position in reverse does show that things haven't really been hitting off for you right now. However, due to the little interactions you have had, either in the past or right now, the Judgment card signals that a lot of these little interactions will come back around to possibly build into something more meaningful with you. Queen of Swords does say that out of all of these little returning interactions, that most of them will fall away or not really go anywhere, but there will be one singular person that will seem to develop something meaningfully with you. So overall, it does seem as though you will end up finding love towards the back end of the next few months. Now, if you want more information about what kind of person this will be, as well as any issues that may come up between now and you meeting them, you can give me a call or send me a message. God, that was a really heavy. Oh my God, and they already got another question. Yeah, still think you should eventually. Yes, eventually I would. It's just I got so much to do. I've got so much to do. Just got a lot to do. Mm-hmm. 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 Is the man I'm seeing going back to his ex? Is the man I'm seeing going back to his ex? Mm-hmm. 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 Jeez, where was my mind? What was I thinking about? Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if the man you're seeing is currently going back to his ex. Going by your cards, the Seven of Pentacles in the primary position does show that right now, it does seem like when it comes to your relationship with him, that he is rather pensive about it. He's still feeling it out, trying to see where it goes. The Nine of Pentacles in the secondary position is also showing that he feels pretty comfortable with you, pretty secure, but it does seem like he has some lingering thoughts, as indicated by Six of Wands in the final position. By it being reversed, it seems as though he is still thinking about his ex and does seem to be making plans to kind of reconnect with her just to try and tie up loose ends or to re-experience what he's gone through with her. Now, if you want to know more about what the future holds between the two of you, as well as any issues that may occur, you can give me a call or send me a message. When will my boyfriend? What? I hate when they ignore me when they ask me for something and then I say, I can do that for this amount of money. And then they just ask again. I'm like, why?
So what he does is go look for these quiches, and he knows that to these quiches, even though he's a lowly Brad, to these quiches, he's a prize. In his community, he's the bottom of the barrel. But to these quiches, he's the prize. But any Brad that's doing well, he's not bringing a quiche home.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if your ex is thinking of you and wanting to reconcile. Going by your cards, 10 of Cups in the primary position and reverse does show that when it comes to your ex, they do seem to be thinking about the old times between the two of you. And it seems like they really had fond feelings regarding your past. Ace of Pentacles in the secondary position does, however, show that they don't seem to really be interested in getting back with you. And the main reason why is shown in the Seven of Swords in the final position. With it being there, it's showing that the main element that's keeping them from wanting to reconcile with you is just a feeling of betrayal and unfairness on one side. So it seems like despite them having cherished memories of you, they still have some strong feelings between the two of you in a bad way. I would say that a little direct talk would fix a lot of this. It's just setting it up would be the hard part. Now, if you want to know what the future holds between the two of you later in the year, as well as any other issues that may come up, you can give me a call or send me a message. God, they love talking to me. Oh my God, that was a gauntlet. That was a gauntlet. I just did a lot of questions. Like a lot of questions.
They have to have accomplished, they need to be 6 feet tall, they need to have 6 figures, have a big house, be able to take them on Tizzy tour. They come up with all these requirements because they know that there's nobody coming for them anyway. There's nobody coming for them anyway. So to come up with all these requirements, that's her way of saying, that's her way of trying to say, since you don't have these requirements, I'm not going to date you. When in all actuality, nobody is coming up with that for you. Therefore, you're just making it seem like that the only reason why you're not dating is because they don't have these requirements. No, you're not dating because they're not checking for you. So you putting up this high price knowing nobody's going to pay it just to say that's the reason why you're not competing. You get what I'm saying now, black man? Anyway, let's get to it. My bad. My bad for going on a tangent. Let's
I want to make a point because I don't even want to touch that. I think the internet's going to touch that for us. But yeah. I think you said that
If this goes out,
you said that
you might have to cut this part.
Yeah, you got to cut her part. Yeah. What she said was some bullshit. But you said let me explain because you held the mic.
You're very sensitive.
You held the mic.
Extreme.
I've been taking my turn.
Yeah, she's extreme. And I grew up around boys. Like I know sensitive boys. I have all the boy cousins.
So since I'm going to cry after this podcast,
I can look you in the eyes and see.
Yes. Here.
Mhm.
I won't be able to sleep at night thinking about, oh my God.
So she's looking for gangsters. Got taken on Tizzy towards by Brad, and now want to date black men again. And now she's calling them a boy.
Listen, I can only be with a woman like her. Anyway, but the point I want to make right is this.
You think the internet gonna grind me up?
Oh yeah, they're gonna chew me up. They're gonna chew me up. You said that women don't benefit from marriage.
And before I go any further, I want to say this. I'm looking at the comments of this video. I didn't see the ending of this video at all. I didn't see the ending of this video. I don't know what did she do, but a lot of brothers are in the comment section getting at the host. You know, they pretty upset at the host. So I don't know what happened, but we'll see. We'll see.
You said
No.
men benefit from marriage. Was that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Who benefits from divorce?
Y'all,
We do?
the woman, if the man has money.
Okay.
The average nigga does not have
Okay.
money.
Yeah.
Nobody's
You
gonna
do
get
realize
anything from the
7 out of the 10.
Changing how you shop can feel like a lot.
You okay?
It's different, but you'll love it.
It's like how it's smaller to cut overhead costs.
You're going to save some money. Differences that save you money. It's an Aldi thing.
Please take me on a tour of this home and tell me about it.
Built in 2022, this home features modern updates.
I don't like this decor. Please remove the furniture.
The furniture is now hidden.
One of the things I love about research and development is that there's an endless world of possibilities. Hi, my name is Alexia Villarreal. I am a second-year graduate student here at UTRGV in the Material Science and PhD program. The career that I'm most looking forward to after I graduate is become a research development engineer. I really like to continue working with material science and ecological issues. I'd like to create biodegradable plastics and other materials that don't necessarily take up so much space, especially after their usage. I would describe UTRGV to be exceptionally homey. And I say that because they're just amazing in general. They just help you out, but homey as well because they really make you feel at home. We're a family because we are. We're in this together. You start to see the development of materials. You start to see how materials are engineered, and you start to see how impactful what we create in these labs are, because eventually it could be in the hands of your siblings or your mother and father, and so you want to create that better world for them, and this is where it all starts in research and development. That's what I love about it. One of the main reasons I trusted UTRGV with my education is because they have yet to let me down. The staff here is exceptional. They really inspire you. You hear what they've done, you hear where they've been, and it just wants you to continue working towards that as well, because you know that you're so close because they're right next to you and they believe in you. You're truly not alone, and they really want you to succeed here. So if there's anything I can say, it's just don't give up. Bees up and go vaqueros.
Women are the beneficiary from marriage, right? Whether it was from divorce.
y'all why are you talking about billionaire concepts? You're an average nigga. What are you
I'm
talking
not an
about?
average dude.
You are.
I'm an average nigga.
The disrespect is crazy, but yeah, women. I don't know why I really don't know why he's going with the billionaire. I know where he's going with it, but you don't even have to go in that field. You don't even have to go to that extent, to explain how they benefit. They benefit from marriage based off of discipline. The men are disciplined. They're calculated, right? They invest in the future. Women, all they do is spend. Even Becky's would say that when they got with their husbands taught them how to be financially responsible, because before they were married, they were spending more than when they were single, They was they were spending more when they were single than when they were married. So, women when they get into a marriage, there's discipline there. There's a plan there. There's guys that get married and
Oh, you're back.
they start to realize that they got to provide for.
So yeah, someone with a username called Greg.
and for their family. Everything is on their
Talk to
shoulders.
me.
They're the man.
Added
If the
message to you.
house is falling apart, they got to take care of it. If something happens within the family, any financial crisis, everybody's going to look at him. So that's the benefit of being with in a marriage. That's the benefit of a woman being with a man, is that they get taken care of, right? They can always look to their man. And if they lose their jobs or anything like that, right? It's not like they're going to get evicted. It's not like they're on their own. They have a man there that's going to pick up the weight until they figured whatever it is that they got going on. Now, when they get divorced, right? Just because a man's not rich doesn't mean that they still don't get a piece of whatever it is he got going on, right? Alimony is still a thing, right? If you have a house, you got to split the house. If you have earnings together, bank accounts and all that, it's just expensive, man. It's really expensive. For the average guy, it's even worse because he could be making $60,000, $70,000 per year, and once he go through a divorce, he might end up in a shizzy. So yeah, it doesn't really benefit men. It benefits women more.
The point, and that's why she thinks it's sensitive. We're not going to finish talking about alimony is paid by how much percent? It's like 93%.
Alimony is
Yeah,
for white men. Niggas don't pay the alimony.
What? We already know the news channels he watches.
Yeah,
We already know the news channels. But here's the thing.
watches all the wig wearers.
What's the percentage of black men's marriage in this country? And then tell me how much y'all pay alimony. Tell me what the percentage is.
Hold on, this podcast is going to be.
I don't want anything to come out of that.
Well, because you're embarrassed. Because you're embarrassed about what you're saying.
I'm not
I'm not embarrassed about what I'm saying. So you can use it. Whatever I'm saying, you can put it out. Okay.
You're a very insecure person. You probably don't know it's gonna be. You're not used to women like me.
I am not used to a masculine woman.
I'm not a masculine woman. I'm so soft.
Exactly. You date young men 6 years younger than them. You want them to be gangsters.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what she said. And you said that you were a problem.
What do you mean?
What is she? What is in that glass?
Because you said that.
What is she sipping?
Whoa.
She clearly
Wait.
don't remember anything, or just doesn't matter.
My bad. I read that wrong. It's weird. For some reason, I thought you said that someone with Greg 100 times in the name talked to you. But really what you said was that he talked to you with 101 words. 111 words.
I'm a veteran. I'm a widow because I was married, right? I have a daughter that I put in one of the best schools in this country, right?
Cap. See, when these geishas start talking, that's when the lies start. We don't believe anything. Only thing I might believe is that she probably is, probably was in the army or whatever military service she was in. I believe that. You be having a lot of these geishas in the military. Come out, think they all tough. Think they can square up with men now. So yeah, I believe that, but all that other stuff, no, I don't believe none of that.
Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say how much I make money, but I make very good money. I'm a contributor to my community.
The rat community.
And I'm still, yeah, I'm always, I have a fun show.
No,
like, and I don't want women like you. And women don't want men like you. So he's upset because women are becoming more like me, and he's not like. is not going to argue with one. Absolutely.
He's not arguing with you. He's checking you. Your pops is a simp, so shut up, Moon Rock Keisha.
The young boy that was 6 years old, walking back and forth like, yes.
So, all right. So let's get to that part of it. So
You guys read the chat better? Well, I think my eyes are getting worse. I feel like I've been squinting more. I think it's also because I haven't been sleeping a lot. But yeah, it has been harder to read, it seems.
You up on his show. I think that's their show together. I'm not sure. I think you're on his show. And dude, this video, I haven't seen the entire. I mean, I haven't seen it, right? I haven't
What?
the entire video, in this video, because I want y'all to go check these brothers' video out, right? To see the rest of it. I ain't put everything in here, right? But throughout this entire video, this guy right here was not disrespectful at all. He was respectful. He only, gave his point of view, held himself with, great composure. She's been very disrespectful to this guy, and he hasn't been disrespectful to her at all. Not one time. Not one time.
He's a YouTuber. Like, come on now.
I don't know what I earned.
You're YouTube.
Have you seen my channel? And the millions of views that I got?
Doesn't matter. Can you find me a Fiji? I
just came back to Africa, from Africa.
Boy, bye.
And yes, we got Fiji money. What are you talking about? You don't know me. What are you?
I've seen you 1,000 times. Like, I know you.
So you see my content before?
No.
You know what you're talking about.
And that's why
hold up. No, hold on here. Because here's the issue, right? Women like her over talk men, and it's fine. We're gonna let the footage reveal that, right? We're gonna let the footage reveal that. No, but we sat here quiet. We sat quiet while she rants. And I tried to interject at times. But I was like,
I'm not that. I'm actually a softie.
Hey,
he's so soft. He's holding at the mouth over soft.
Just one second.
I'm not even a hard girl.
Okay.
And he can't take me.
I think you're hard.
You as hard as that wig on your
I
head.
think you're very hard. But I understand you. You know why I understand you? Because I listened to you. What I've heard from what you said is that you like men that are.
You don't understand.
You like men.
We cut from such a different cloth.
Just
You want to understand.
be quiet for 1 second, right? So let me talk.
He hasn't called her the B word once. She done called him a boy, N-word, not once. And this Keisha right here is just loving it. She's agreeing with her. What are y'all doing with yourselves dealing with them? This is why I say, the black men, this is the reason why I say if you see dudes dealing with these Keishas and they're in your circle, cut them out of your circle, man. Cut them out of your circle, man. You don't need to be around any of them. They don't need to be graced with your presence anymore. This is disgusting, man. This is disgusting. I don't understand. I really don't get it. I don't understand why dudes want to sit around these Keishas and get disrespected. I don't get it. It's not worth it for the views, for the content. It's not worth it. You don't give these Keishas the chance to just sit around and talk nasty to you. Let her be in her little miserable poor life and let her deal with
What am I looking at?
You can tell he's not used to Keishas like that. You can tell he's not used to the disrespect like that because he don't know how to respond to it. He really don't. He don't know how to respond to it. Anybody and this is the reason why you never see me on any panels or any collaborations. Never with Akeisha. Never. Never. She would never get the chance to be around me. Never be able to talk to me. Because if I was sitting there, and I would never, understand something, Black man, I would never be able to. But if I was sitting there, oh no, I'm gonna tell you exactly who you are. You are Brad worshiping, washed up 304. You're done. It's finito for you. You're trying to do the reach back, and it failed horribly. Now you're old. Oh, you got money? You prove it. Prove it. Let's see some bank statements. We're in a digital age now. You can just go on your app and just
Well,
pull up what's
that just happened.
Show me. Show me. How many zeros in your bank account? We're in a digital age. All you have to do is pull up an app.
Someone literally just showed me something about killing someone.
Patient names and just the numbers. What's in there? Yeah, it start getting quiet. You'll see $16. They be fretting about all this money and this and that. You can't talk that money stuff to people with money. Oh, really? All right, prove it. Let's see something. Just be lying, man. Just be capping, man. The cap is just insane, man. Anyway, let's go.
I'm only quiet for people I respect. I respect men. I will be quiet for you. If you wanna.
So this is what I'll do. Let's give him 1 minute and then
diffuse the situation. Okay.
No, I'm answering it. I talk to men I respect.
Okay. Anyway, so I understand women like you, right? There's a lot of propaganda telling women that you're exceeding man.
I'm talking about lived experience. He's talking about propaganda. That's what I'm saying. Because y'all go in his mind. Like, I'm a grown woman with lived experience in real life. He keeps telling me propaganda. I'm telling him my real experiences. He's telling me that how I'm feeling and how I'm internalizing it is propaganda. He's a child.
I get it. So just give him a minute. We only gonna give him 1 minute, and then I'm gonna give you your time to rebuttal.
All right.
I don't understand what's up with him right here. You know, as soon as she would have said he's a child, he was supposed to check her and be like, that's not a child up there. That's a grown man. And if you're not gonna respect him as a man here, you could just step. You could just get up out of here.
Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. Celebrate spring savings at Harbor Freight. Moderate to severe Crohn's symptoms kept me out of the picture.
How do I feel about zodiac readings? I feel they can be useful. But they're probably better. They are probably better for readers who are servicing a large amount of people at once, like every day, and on social media. So if I were like on Twitter and I had like 1,000 followers, yeah, I'd do that.
And most of the wealthiest women in the world became wealthy.
Actually, ooh,
that is true. So
you just gave me a good idea. Oh my god, I guess I will do that. Wow.
Women become billionaires before. What are you talking about? Like, this is not our conversation.
You can just forget it.
This is not our conversation.
I get his point, but he don't have to go that far. It's so many ways to explain and break down how women benefit from marriage more than men. There's so many ways. You don't have to go that far. But anyway, I get what he's saying. You don't have to go there.
Like, what are we talking
Ain't what
about? We're talking
scamming.
about relationships amongst us, right? Like he's putting in statistics and scenarios that he's not even a part of. Like, what do you?
That was my fault. I brought that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I don't understand what you're talking about. We're talking about real people. That's why I don't like talking to YouTubers. I'm a real person. I pay taxes. I'm an everyday average.
The zodiac sign. What do you mean?
Dude, you pay taxes. So what? Everybody pays taxes. You pay taxes when you die. Called the death tax. Everybody pays taxes. What are you new to paying taxes?
Oh, you didn't hear me.
And by the way, if he's a YouTuber, he pay taxes too. The people who make money off of YouTube, they have to pay taxes off the revenue they make off the. What is she talking about, man? Shut up.
I'm a civilian and I'm a vet. Like I understand, the military life and things like that. Like I want to have real conversations with real people about real concepts.
And YouTubers, we're from Mars. We're not real people.
So how about this? How about this?
So we do
understand.
What did I say? It can be useful if you're running like a social media account. You have like 1,000 followers. Yeah, it could be really useful.
But I do want to get somewhere with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're saying that there is something wrong between the relationship dynamics between men and women, how is it possible for us to bridge the gap?
We can't, because if she wants to leave, men will follow.
Can I answer your question?
We don't let her go, then you got it right after.
I think
we're gonna let her go.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, so I think the problem with it is we have to be realistic about whether or not men are capable of leading, because we're not going to just go blindly follow after someone that we deem incapable. So it's a lot of these men that sit here like, follow me, follow me, follow me. A real leader does not have to tell you to follow them. You're going to see the way they lead and naturally fall in line.
So how come you're 34 and you haven't followed anybody? So you're 34. You mean to tell me now one guy you've met was worthy to follow? No, that's because she don't deal with productive men, productive black men. She's from what? Where she's from? South Philly? Yeah. I'm not dissing the brothers in South Philly, but let's keep it a buck, man. These chicks from Philly, they some different type of Keishas out there. All they do is get with Pookies. It's Pook Nation for them. So yeah, they're like, shut up. These moon rock Keishas, man.
Yeah, the Ask Cards all stream.
A lot of these guys,
I've noticed.
Like, I'm a leader, and the reality of
You're actually doing pretty good.
And you wonder why these women are not following you. It's because you're not a leader. You're not even showing none of these characteristics.
It's the delusion of the reality that men are.
I have women that follow me.
There is this delusion of a reality,
and I feel like that's another thing that
isn't conducive with the real world anymore.
It's the difference between women and female. So
rules
I feel like
everything.
That's the difference.
Money rules everything. It's getting so cutthroat out here. It's getting so cutthroat out here that money is over everything. The mentality and money. If you're not on the same page in regard to how to overcome these obstacles that are amongst us during these unprecedented times, nobody has ever seen things like this in this country and throughout this.
I agree that women feel like money.
What are you talking about? Nobody's seen what? Oh, that's right. They don't know history. We're in a recession. And it's common. Recessions are common. Recessions are common, black men. What is she talking about? What is she talking about? We're in a time where money is this, recessions are common. You have depressions, right? But then you have recessions. They're very common. What is she talking about? Always talking about money. There have been, black men, there have been over 30 U.S. recessions since the 1850s. 30. Look it up. They have been over 30. I forgot the exact number, but there's been like over 30 recessions since the 1850s. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. But let me say something before I play the video. You know why they talk about money so much? They talk about money so much because they don't have any. This is the reason why, Keisha, if you anybody who that talks to Keishas or deal with them, everything is about money because they don't have any. They're always in survival mode. Always in survival mode. You can't hit a Keisha through a DM and say, hey, what's up, without them talking about, I can't pay my rent or my light bill. Here's my cash app, because they're always broke. She's sitting here talking about money because she has none. People with money don't need to talk about it. They don't talk about it because it's something they have.
There are abortion videos of babies screaming in pain and pulling away from their fourth.
Bet you can't run as fast as T-Mobile. Bet you I can. We better take it. T-Mobile now has the fastest 5G home internet. Watch this. I'm okay. T-Mobile now has the fastest 5G home internet. It's $35 a month.
Hi, I have an appointment with Miranda.
Yeah, HR certainly has an odd sense of humor.
What?
You're late. Make yourself presentable. Let's go. The last two girls were sacked after only a few weeks, so we need someone who can survive here. Understand?
Wait, I think you're confused.
Runway is fashion, so an interest in style is crucial. It's hurting me to look at you. Here, take this.
You know I'm the brand ambassador for L'Oreal Paris, right?
That means you.
Kendall! Hi! Miranda is so excited. Oh, yeah. So let's get you to wardrobe. Thank you.
Also, worth it.
Buy it.
That's fair. It's only 10 a.m. I'll go all day.
The good news is the IRS is reporting a 10% increase in the size of the average taxpayer refund and how more taxpayers are getting it. However, initial data also shows Americans are not spending the windfall. Instead, understated, they're saving the money or using the proceeds to pay down debt. Now, both of those things are positive in their own right.
Because I enough, I need to go to the source for more help. Was the source?
From a broader economic perspective, this is not what people were hoping for. It is what should have been expected, though, particularly in the context of basic economics, small E economics, not the stuff that's preached by PhD, capital economists who tout the macroeconomic benefits from government stimulus. We've seen this before in 2008 as well as 2001 with very similar results. Repeated experience shows that when people are under stress, they behave rationally, even prudently. In that sense, the lack of spending is just another sign of the tremendous strain that everybody's under. And even while the refunds are ramping up in January and February this year, the Federal Reserve's consumer credit data had already indicated growing caution well before the Iran conflict and energy shock. The aggregate revolving credit balance across the banking system was flat. And since these credit estimates correspond very clearly with jobs data, including the payroll numbers, at least after they've been revised to better reflect the length and the depth of the ongoing flat beverage employment weakness, that was an early warning about how Americans would respond, or in this case, not respond as had been hoped. After all, with the jobs market and therefore incomes contracting in the second half of last year, began to start this year, workers, consumers, they've already been falling further and further behind. Also, the $4 price of gasoline, and what happens is what everybody should have expected to happen. Americans use the money, the tax refunds that they're getting, that's a positive, but they're using the refunds not to spend, but to pay down debt and to save for the future. And where it does get spent, unfortunately, it's being spent on that $4 gasoline. So again, the good news is that tax cuts are producing more refunds. More money in the hands of taxpayers is always, always a positive. But as far as macroeconomic stimulus, the results are always underwhelming whenever the economy is facing substantial headwinds. When it's on a downturn, it's the downturn that matters, not the stimulus. And we know that's been the case the last couple of years because, for one thing, American consumers have been telling us that nonstop. Consumer sentiment has deteriorated sharply across every survey, not just the most extreme ones like the University of Michigan. It goes back to 2024 when employment really started to drop off and flat beverage began to show up. Lack of jobs, lack of incomes, higher cost of living forced on the world years ago. People outside the top income tiers, they've been falling further and further behind. Their debts become a bigger burden, which is, in fact, the primary reason why we got to know the cockroaches, for example, like Tricolor. It was stressed subprime households who just couldn't take flagging incomes and the lack of jobs any longer. Many started to buckle, and when they did, it started to pull back the curtain on the insanity and garbage in private credit. But from the start, tax refunds, okay, good idea for individuals. Just don't expect it to produce a broader positive effect on spending. Remember, that's what economists, the capital E variety, constantly claim. You give people money, they spend it, which leads to more revenue for businesses, which then hire more workers who now have more income so they can spend more, and so on, into the theoretical virtuous circle of Keynesianism. But if stressed workers don't spend their tax refunds, the circle doesn't get closed and the economy doesn't pick up, even if the government is throwing around the big bucks to do so. As we'll see in a minute, that's exactly what happened the last couple of times this was tried under these similar circumstances. Paying down debt, saving money, at best, in this case, spending on higher gasoline, but little else. And that's what the initial data here in 2026 is already showing. In a world where markets swing on every headline, focus matters. That's why Eurodollar University offers its one big weekly theme, a disciplined thematic analysis that you can count on. If you don't have time to go all the way to the depth of Eurodollar University's comprehensive deep dive analysis, but you want to get the next best thing, one big weekly theme is for you. Each week, we pick the one high-impact macro and market theme, and we unpack it from first principles, from fundamentals to real-world implications, so you can see the forest and the trees, drawing from all over the vast Eurodollar University library in Canada. What you get with one big weekly theme is a single focused theme each week, unpacked with clarity from sources you will not see anywhere else. Data-driven analysis, supported by charts and information pulled from Eurodollar University's other subscriptions and offerings, all in a simple, repeatable framework you'll use week after week. We distill the complexity into a practical, fundamentals-first playbook that you can rely on. This is not about chasing every hot idea. It's about building a disciplined routine that sharpens your judgment during these periods of uncertainty. So if you're ready to make your week count, subscribe to One Big Weekly Theme today. Visit eurodollaruniversity.substack.com or click the link in the description to learn more. You can sample the service or sign up and get started straight away. Eurodollar University, focused approach to mastering money and macro, one thoughtful week at a time. A quote. Federal refunds are averaging about $3,500 this year, according to the Internal Revenue Service data through early April. That's up roughly $350 or about 10% from last spring, thanks to tax changes in President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Many households are using the extra cash to shore up their finances rather than splurge. At a time of, they say, stubborn inflation, it's really lack of income, and soaring gas prices from the Iran war, they're focused on getting their own fiscal homes in order. Early tax filers increased their debt payments by about 20% in the 3 weeks after receiving refunds. 20% increase in debt repayments, according to David Tinsley, the senior economist at the Bank of America Institute. That includes paying down student loans, that's a big one, as well as car and credit card balances. And lower income households, those who are pinched the most by the affordability crisis, again, lack of income, they're just different terms for lack of income, have put even more of their refunds, nearly 30%, into repaying debts. We're also using the refunds to catch up on other bills. Some are maybe buying clothes, phones, and other personal items for themselves or their families, but only after taking care of necessities. As Tinsley himself says, they're not just rushing out and blowing these refunds, they're also repairing their balance sheets. That last little bit was already on display in February, before we got to the energy shock, the Iran conflict, and $4 gasoline. Americans had already been paying down, or at least not taking out as many credit cards and credit card balances as they had been. Revolving consumer credit, according to the Federal Reserve, has been getting weaker and weaker and weaker, in the same manner as the job market. Unlike installment loans for cars or appliances, which are more related to changes in interests, credit card use tends to correlate with employment. Whenever card owners are secure in their jobs and confident about their incomes and opportunities for better income, they'll naturally run up the revolving debts. However, once they begin to sense labor market softness, consumers begin to rethink their usage. And should that softness become flat beverage, they'll put their cards away entirely. And the further down the flat part of the beverage curve we go, the more likely borrowers actually pay down their outstanding balances rather than take on any additional ones. Consumers cut back on their cards while also taking out fewer new ones. The aggregate revolving credit balance slows to a crawl and then can even reverse the more jobs that get lost. Now, what the Fed data showed for February was a minuscule increase in the seasonally adjusted balance. January wasn't all that much either, and while December was something of a splurge, that happens every now and again, card usage has been clearly slowing down for some time. Like I said in the intro, that corresponds strongly with the establishment survey data because of course it does. It's basic economics. So that already indicated how taxpayers, especially at the bottom ends of the income spectrum, were likely to be using their refunds once they got them. They were paying down credit cards before the refunds. They're not going to stop now with them. Because the labor market is anything other than strong or solid, the propensity to pay down debt is far higher than it would be under better, actually resilient employment conditions. Consumers themselves, they've said they're afraid on jobs and income. They've been saying this more strenuously for many, many months now, for well over a year. So the credit data showed they were already believing that tax refunds are just following along the basic economics of reality.
God, this is a busy night. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if your old boss, Steven, regrets putting you in the position that led to you having to quit your job. Going by your cards, 6 of Pentacles in the primary position and reversed does show that even though he did offer you that position, it did seem as though it was a bit misplaced. So it seems that rather than him doing it out of the goodness of his heart, it seemed more like he gave you that position more to fit a quota or just to fulfill some need that he had. 8 of Swords in the secondary position and reversed also shows that he kind of felt like he had no choice, which kind of plays into the first card's meaning by once again saying that him giving you that position was more of circumstance than anything else. Knight of Swords in the final position in reversed is showing that he did wish that you hadn't have had to leave that job. He feels like he did lose a lot of value from you and that he ultimately just ended up making a mistake, which unfortunately this does happen a lot in the working world where someone does put you in a position where it's just not the best fit, and unfortunately it does cause a permanent departure. Now, if you'd like to know what the future holds for you when it comes to career, as well as what would be your best fit, you can give me a call or send me a message.
Their money, they're supposed to spend it, leading to the virtuous circle. Spending leads to higher employment, which creates more income, therefore more spending, and so on. Now,
What do you mean, well,
proposition, even in the best of times,
was the source?
because research has long shown people
Was the
respond very
source?
differently to windfalls than they do regular income. Milton Friedman called it the permanent income hypothesis, and it doesn't really need a fancy name. Again, this is just common sense, basic small economics. So if you find $350 sitting on the side of the road, you don't go out and buy a new car or lock yourself into that kind of payment. Maybe you spend some of it, but based on macro conditions, time and again, history shows you're far more likely to pay off the bills you owe or pay down debt. Now, the twin Bush experiments provide useful examples. Now, people forget these happened because that's how effective they were. They were forgettable. No virtuous circles, just more government debt because good Dr. Keynes, he demanded governments borrow to get the economy rolling toward that circle, and that never really happens. If you don't remember early 2008, the Bush administration's genius plan was to pay off taxpayers with tax credits. Basically, what most people imagine is the Economic Stimulus Act of 2008 was passed on February 13th, and 2/3 of that $150 billion that was allocated for it, which was an enormous amount for the time. It seems like a drop in the bucket. That was enormous in early 2008. About $100 billion of it was these credits, literal checks that were mailed directly to taxpayers. Roughly 130 million households received them, individuals. They got between $300 and $600, while joint filers ended up with between $600 and $1,200. So somewhat comparable to what we're getting here in 2026. What the research shows is that the majority of recipients, they paid down their debt, they paid off their bills, and just saved what was left over. And remember, this wasn't late 2008. This was well before Lehman Brothers. The economy was in recession in effect, but most people didn't know it. The labor market was increasingly rough. That's what they were responding to, not the headlines, which continued to be positive, especially anything that was said by any central banker anywhere. The mainstream said 2008, early 2008 anyway, was just a little hiccup. And that the government payments on top of the Fed's ridiculous rate cuts would ensure the economy wouldn't get any worse. It was supposed to be a combination of fiscal, monetary, it's not monetary, but fiscal and Federal Reserve stimulus. And one of the most widely cited studies on the matter, the fiscal part of it, which published in 2009, reported, quote, only 1/5 of survey respondents said that the 2008 tax rebates would lead them to mostly increased spending. Most respondents said they would either mostly save the rebate or mostly use it to pay off debt. The most common plan for the rebate was debt repayment. The survey estimates imply that the marginal propensity to spend from the rebate was about 1/3, and that there would not be substantially more spending as a lagged effect of the rebates. And that's part of the Keynesianism too. Spending leads to more spending, which leads to more spending. That didn't happen. And because of the low spending propensity, the rebates in 2008 provided low, quote, bang for the buck as economic stimulus. Let me read that again. Because of the low spending propensity, the rebates in 2008 provided low bang for the buck as economic stimulus. Putting cash into the hands of consumers who use it to save or pay off debt boosts their well-being, and that's not nothing, but it does not necessarily make them spend. In particular, low-income individuals were particularly likely to use the rebate to pay off debt. And we're seeing exactly the same things here in 2026. Now, this didn't mean, and it won't mean, there was no spending or won't be spending, nor any impact on the economy. There was some, just as the authors also write in the study, just a lot less bang for the buck. GDP in the second quarter of 2008, for example, it turned positive after an ugly start to the year. But it didn't make any difference. It didn't stimulate a turnaround. Uncle Sam went deeper into debt so that individual taxpayers could pay off some of their credit card bills. You can see this in the savings rate for 2008. It jumped from 2.4% in April to 6.8% the next month in May as the checks were being mailed and processed. But after that, the savings rate dropped back toward 3% again, not because taxpayers began to spend, but because
Whoa.
what they feared would happen started to happen. Income
I just saw a very pretty woman in my mind's eye.
Now, the same study I just quoted
That was
also
crazy.
looked back at the 2001 experience because apparently George Bush loved doing this mailing checks and direct payment stuff. And guess what? Very similar results. Most people back then saved or paid down their debts. Very small proclivity to spend. The savings rate also spiked during the summer of 2001 when the stimulus checks were being sent out. But because the 2001's dot-com recession was mild, many economists thought these payments, along with Alan Greenspan's aggressive rate cuts, they thought that the combination of central bank policy and fiscal policy had worked. They hadn't stopped the recession, of course. They didn't stop the job losses, but maybe, they claim, it would have been worse had authorities done nothing. There were some jobs that were saved, a counterfactual that no one can ever disprove. That's kind of the point. The stimulus didn't stimulate, so they just say it did, and claim that we know it must have because it didn't get as bad as 1929. Economics really is not a serious discipline. It's an ideology masquerading as a science. And the counterpoint to this is, of course, 2020 and 2021. Bigger helicopter payments would seem to be a much more direct and obvious effect, certainly in consumer prices, right? First Trump twice, and then Biden sent even larger payments, this time digitally dropped right on into everybody's bank accounts just to make it convenient. Now, spending did respond, but the evidence shows it wasn't any more proportionally to 2001 or 2008. People still pay down debts and save. It appeared to have a bigger impact. It appeared to have a bigger impact, certainly on prices, because of the unique circumstances of the time. The lockdowns, the restraints, an economy that was coming back off the lows. It was already on its way up, not falling further down as in 2001 and 2008. Plus, the price impact of what everybody calls inflation was mainly about the supply restrictions more than the spending impact of government payments. I mean, just look at the savings rate. It shot up to a ridiculous 30% April 2020, partly because there was no spending or anything happening at all, but it was still double digits heading into 2021 before the third helicopter from Biden pushed it right back up to 26% all over again. Either way, the more important variable is the state of the labor market. It was on its way back up 5 years ago, even if it wouldn't get all the way there. Meanwhile, in 2001 and 2008, consumers were responding to employment, which was moving further down the flat part of the beverage curve rather than climbing out of it. And that's where we are in 2026, going further flat. So no surprise the tax refund stimulus is not stimulating as it had been hoped. The Keynesians are Keynesian themselves all over again. Remember, the primary purpose here, according to economists, is to get everything moving, to use the government as the only game in town to restart everything, or what Keynes himself called pump priming. You throw some money at the economy, it leads to activity that then generates more activity. Pretty soon you know it, the whole thing is moving the virtuous circle. That's just never how it works. When the system is slowing down and experiencing a downturn, stimulus does not stop the downturn. Government injections don't turn it around. At best, they have to claim that after it fails, maybe it kept the downturn from being worse than it otherwise would have gotten to be without the stimulus that didn't stimulate. Just look at China. By all accounts, the current economy and labor market remains firmly in a downturn. I mean, the establishment survey shows it. The income data does too. We went over revolving credit, jolts, ugly jolts in hiring, negative turnover there, consumer sentiment across all the consumer surveys. In other words, an entire array of different kinds of evidence put together by a variety of different sources. And all of it says downturn. Now, much of it points to a modest contraction already, and one that was not provoked by tariffs or tariff uncertainty. It's much deeper than that. And all the data shows it goes back much farther. This thing has been slowly grinding downward since early to mid-2024. In fact, the whole point behind the tax cuts and refunds here in 2026 is the Trump administration figuring out the economy really was in bad shape last year, and it actually had been getting worse. Just look at the establishment survey. 0 job growth for an entire year in 2025. It really doesn't get much worse than that, except for the kinds of recession that the NBER will even admit is a recession. The tax cuts were intended to be stimulus to try to solve that problem, but it should be no surprise that the results that we're already getting are nearly identical to the past rounds of stimulus, which also did not stimulate. And And that's before we even consider the effect of higher gasoline and the full weight of the energy shock. So on individual merits, yes, we should always be looking to cut taxes, always. It would be much better if lower taxes were paired with significantly lower spending, but that's just not the world that we live in. It's also a big positive for individuals, especially households, because let's face it, they need more help, especially since the economy sucks, and it has sucked for years. Jobs are disappearing, incomes are not growing, in fact, they're shrinking in relative terms. But as far as stimulating the economy via spending, it's not happening.
Yes, he said my name.
In the short run, but it'll be nowhere near enough to change the trajectory of the economy. Instead, the fact that taxpayers aren't responding except in the same way they always do under these circumstances just further proves these circumstances. You save money and pay down debt when you're worried about jobs and incomes. And right now, people are saving money and paying down debt because there's every reason for them to be worried. Flat beverage rules the game, not government checks. And then when you start to add the energy shock on top of all that, it really starts to get to what the IMF said was drifting closer to their adverse scenario. All the details in the video link below. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Huge thank you, Eurodollar University members and subscribers. And until next time, take care.
Fresh finds perfectly picked for you. Now and new at Target.
There's DNA. Then there's heavy duty DNA. HDNA. Get 1,000 purchase cash on this here heavy duty 44.9% APR.
This is how smart brands are getting into your living room without spending a fortune.
Now you can create an ad that's more accessible than ever. As people are watching TV, they can now actually click the ad. Roku Ads Manager is shaking up the ad game for marketers. It enables business owners to finally run TV ads that feel as simple as simply boosting an Instagram post. Pick your audience, set your budget, and then go live on their ad streaming platform. If you use Shopify, it's even better. People can literally check out by just using their TV remote. Plus, it's all self-serve, so you don't need an agency or a giant budget. Just log in, click your settings, and voila, you're running TV ads like a pro. If you've ever wanted your brand on TV, this is your sign. It's never been easier, so get started today.
On August 2nd, 1963, the American destroyer USS Maddox, operating off the coast of North Vietnam, a body of water called the Gulf of Tonkin, was attacked by 3 torpedo boats of the North Vietnamese Navy. There was a brief military engagement during which a number of shots were fired. The American ship carried on without serious damage. 2 nights later, on August 4th, 1964, the Maddox was out there again, this time accompanied by another destroyer, the USS Eternal Joy. When both ships reported they fell under attack by North Vietnamese craft a second time. This second attack did not occur. There are a host of complex reasons why Navy personnel aboard the ships gave reports that it did, which we'll get into. But the 2 incidents together, particularly the second, were misrepresented by the administration of President Lyndon B. Johnson as an aggressive attack by North Vietnam against forces of the United States. In reality, the one attack by North Vietnam that did occur was largely in response to American provocation. Johnson, of course, didn't allow that to become public knowledge, thus increasing the reality distortion field around these events. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, as both attacks were generally called, was the impetus for the Johnson White House to ask the U.S. Congress for a resolution authorizing Johnson as Commander-in-Chief of the American Armed Forces to, quote, take all necessary measures to repel any armed attack against the forces of the United States and to prevent further aggression. This was the congressional authorization that Johnson used to greatly escalate American involvement in the Vietnam War, particularly during the following year, 1965. As an event in American history, the Gulf of Tonkin incident is extremely problematic and also easily misunderstood. stood. A popular narrative has crystallized around it to the effect that the Johnson administration entirely fabricated the attacks by North Vietnamese torpedo boats as a means to bamboozle the Congress and the American people into authorizing the Vietnam War without proper exploration and popular debate about what exactly was being authorized and what it meant. As with many popular narratives about complex historical events, that narrative is false, or at least highly misleading. The Gulf of Tonkin incident consisted of two separate alleged attacks against U.S. Navy ships. One on August 2nd, 1964, the other on August 4th. The first incident on August 2nd undoubtedly did happen. The historical proof that it happened, including corroboration from the Vietnamese themselves, is unmistakable. The second incident on August 4th did not happen, but it was not fabricated out of whole cloth with malice aforethought. It was clearly misused politically in very cynical ways by the Johnson administration, and the reasons why the false reports of the August 4th alleged attack were given such credit at the time are complex. The political implications of the Gulf of Tonkin incident were also extremely complicated. They had more to do with domestic politics and Lyndon Johnson's then ongoing campaign for the presidency of the United States in 1964 against his Republican opponent, Barry Goldwater, than they did international concerns, much less a prearranged plan for fighting the Vietnam War. But again, the whole story is pretty convoluted and takes a lot of context, analysis, and careful reading of the facts and sources to be able to make an informed judgment about it. But that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to give you the background, the context, the facts, and the analysis of the Gulf of Tonkin incidents. Too often, this critical event in recent American history is oversimplified and distorted, particularly by conspiracy theory narratives, and it deserves to be understood on its own terms. This is the Gulf of Tonkin incident, explained and deconstructed. Hi, I'm Sean Munger. I have a PhD in history, and my niche here on YouTube is doing long, context-heavy, deep dive analyses of historical events. It's been a while since I've done one here, and I'm back to continue the tradition. Yes, the physical surroundings have changed, but the game is the same, and the name of the game is Let's Understand Some History. Before we get into the substance of this video, I want to mention two brief things. The first is that here on my YouTube channel, I now have a members-only section. If you're interested in my videos and want more, think about becoming a member. There's one tier so far, $5 a month, and at that tier, you'll get some extra material. For example, if you become a member, you can watch an extended version of this video without ads and with some expanded content. There's an extra chapter, for example, in the members-only version, and I cover some subjects in more depth. So think of it as sort of the director's cut, so to speak. There will also be some other members-only content, such as unredacted versions of some videos. Remember, for example, there were certain images I couldn't show in the August 1939 video because of YouTube's monetization guidelines. Well, they're restored in the members tier version. Anyway, there is now a membership section, which only just started. So if you want to join, YouTube makes it pretty easy to do. The second thing, I've got a new book out on December 17th, 2024 on Amazon. It's called The Gangster Crown, and it's a crime story taking place mostly in the 1990s, profiling the rise and fall of notorious organized crime kingpin. It's brand new and available on Kindle. The link to it is here in this video and in the description. And there will also be a paperback version available shortly if there isn't already. So check it out. It's a fun book. So now, back to the Gulf of Tonkin. I thought this was a perfect subject for my style of deep dive video analysis. The subject has come up twice before in previous videos I've done in the past. It came up in the two-part series of deep dive videos I did in 2022, the JFK assassination. Oswald acted alone, which I'll say more about in a moment. It also came up in my video made about a year ago about the Watergate affair. Watergate and its history are deeply connected to the war in Vietnam, so that's how we got there. So yes, I did make a series of videos delving deeply into the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and in those videos I presented the facts and a logical analysis that proved, beyond any reasonable doubt, that there was not a conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy in November 1963. There was one assassin, that being Lee Harvey Oswald, and he very clearly acted alone, without help from others or on the orders of anyone else. Not the CIA, not the FBI, not the Mafia, not the Cubans, not the Beatles. Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated Kennedy alone. Now, as soon as I say that, I realize certain members of the audience are going to shut off this video in disgust and declare that I am insane, delusional, stupid, a bad historian, or being paid by the CIA. As if one of the main functions of the CIA is to pay people to make videos on YouTube. There's not much I can do about those people except to say, don't let the door hit you on the way out, and enjoy your cat videos. But for those of you who are actually interested in facts, in the historical context, and analysis of what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin in August 1964 and what did not happen, you may be surprised by certain things you learn here. The conspiracy narrative of this event, which I'll deconstruct at length toward the end of the video, is heavily intertwined with JFK conspiracy fantasies, which is why I mentioned it. In fact, the Gulf of Tonkin is mentioned prominently in one of the most recognizable and widely known fantasies about Kennedy's assassination, that being Oliver Stone's criminally inaccurate film JFK in 1991. That film is at least partially responsible for crystallizing that false popular narrative of the Gulf of Tonkin affair. Again, we'll get there eventually, just bear with me. I want to mention another movie in connection with this topic. It's a documentary made in 2003, Fog of War, in which documentarian Errol Morris conducted a lengthy interview with Robert McNamara, who was Secretary of Defense during 1964 when the Gulf of Tonkin incident happened. In that documentary, often quoted in support of the conspiracy narrative, McNamara clearly stated that the August 4th attack on the USS Turner Joy did not happen. But he also clearly states, conspiracy theorists don't tell you this, that the August 2nd attack undoubtedly did happen. In fact, many years after the Vietnam War was over, McNamara interviewed the former North Vietnamese defense minister, and they discussed two reported Gulf of Tonkin attacks, one which did happen and one which did not. McNamara is a convenient focus for a critical analysis of how the United States got so deeply into the Vietnam War. That's largely because McNamara was uniquely aggressive among Johnson's advisors in arguing for escalating the war in 1964 and 65, and also because even by the time he left office as Secretary of Defense in early 1968, he was beginning to have deep regrets about having taken that course. But important as he is, McNamara was not the most important historical personality connected with the Gulf of Tonkin affair or the Vietnam War as a whole. Far from it. We'll talk about him, but you should know that this is not predominantly Robert McNamara's story. One further housekeeping note. There are a lot of Vietnamese names in this story. I do not speak Vietnamese. I'm doing the best I can with pronunciations. It may not be very good, but I'm trying. If you do speak Vietnamese, I ask your forgiveness for my shortcomings in that regard. Finally, I say it at the end of every video, but I've decided to say it at the beginnings too. The sources I used to research this topic and to make this video are listed in credits at the end and also in the description. In this case, I highly recommend Edwin Moise's very in-depth study on the Gulf of Tonkin affair. There are two editions, one from 1996, the other revised in 2019. It's probably the best single historical treatment of this complicated issue, drawing upon a wealth of primary source documents. If you want to know more, that's where to go. Now, before we get into what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964, we have to go through a lot of context. What was the United States doing in Vietnam in 1964 in the first place? Were the Vietnamese trying to push? How did these two countries find themselves on collision course? That's all in the next chapter.
Ready to lead in healthcare? Bachelor's degree in healthcare administration from WGU can help you get there. Rest assured, no one's earned the degree employers trust. 100% of employers at WGU grads are prepared for their jobs. Our accredited MHA program is full for busy professionals, giving you 24/7 access to online coursework and the option to graduate in as little as 1 year. At WGU, you'll gain the skills you need to succeed in today's most in-demand healthcare leadership roles. Learn more at wgu.edu. WordPress.com is professional WordPress hosting built to scale with no limits, slowdowns, or surprise fees. Plans start at just $2.75 a month with a free domain name for your first year. This site works fast, stays online, and stays secure. And when you need help, real WordPress experts are available 24/7. Professional hosting you can rely on. WordPress.com.
Vietnam is a country that for virtually its entire existence has been uniquely allergic challenging domination by any foreign powers. Not that there are a lot of nations out there who willingly accept and colonize countries. Resistance and self-determination are deeply baked into the Vietnamese national character. The Chinese found this out. They dominated Vietnam for over 1,000 years throughout most of the Middle Ages, and the Vietnamese never stopped resisting. France began colonizing Southeast Asia in the 1860s, and eventually turned into a colony called Indochina, from which the modern countries of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia were eventually born. The period of modern Vietnamese national resistance and colonialism got rolling in earnest after World War I. During the war, the French conscripted nearly 100,000 Vietnamese and sent them overseas to fight in Portuguese. One of the Vietnamese nationalist movements was in Paris in 1919 and tried unsuccessfully to represent the Vietnamese people at the Versailles peace talks. World War II brought another would-be colonizer, the Japanese, who invaded Southeast Asia in 1940 after France was defeated by Germany, leaving its various colonies for the world essentially orphaned. After the Japanese were defeated in the Pacific War of 1945, Vietnamese nationalists under Ho Chi Minh seized the moment to declare independence and did the state. France, liberated by the Allies, wanted to keep her Southeast Asian colonies, bucking the trend of other Allied powers to give up their Philippine possessions with varying degrees of reluctance, including the United States, which granted independence to the Philippines in 1946, and Britain, which gave India the following year. I mention these because you have to see those World War II history of Vietnam in the context of a long trend toward decolonization. Vietnam War was about decolonization. The French fought a brutally destructive war to try to hang on to the lasted from 1946 to 1954. The French on one side, and the Middle Army called Viet Minh fighting for Vietnamese independence. But the problem for Western countries, particularly the United States, was that the Vietnamese nationalist movement was communist in orientation. Ho Chi Minh was a communist. What Americans didn't tend to understand was that Ho was a nationalist first and a communist second. His main goal was an independent and united Vietnam. He wanted that independent Vietnam to be a communist country. The nationalist independence, not the spread of worldwide revolution, was his primary objective. This is what Americans and Harry Truman down to Lyndon Johnson would never want to rise. In May 1954, Viet Minh handed the French a military defeat that they were Robert. The Battle of Dien Bien Phu was one of the most pivotal battles in the entire 20th century. What you're looking at is a system of tunnels used by the Viet Minh during this battle, and which have been turned into a Dien Bien Phu is in the Vietnamese national character. The battle of Yorktown is to Americans a decisive battle that overthrew the colonists and cemented national independence. Dien Bien Phu occurred literally one day before an international conference in Geneva got underway to discuss a political settlement in Southeast Asia and also Korea. The Korean War had just ceased. The story of this conference is horrendously complicated and extremely depressing. Unfortunately, I don't need to go into it in great detail. Suffice it to say, the Geneva Conference split Vietnam into two countries. One in the north, which was effectively controlled by Ho Chi Minh's communist regime, and one in the south, which would in short order be led by a man called Theo Tin, a Catholic and staunch anti-communist. The split was supposed to be temporary. New elections were supposed to happen the next year, to choose a national unity government. But Diem and South Vietnam and the United States refused to be bound by the Geneva Accords, and the national unity elections never happened. Diem, who became president of South Vietnam, eventually became a dictator. Now there were two Vietnams, a communist North Vietnam, whose capital was Hanoi, and a pro-Western South Vietnam, with its capital in Saigon. For their part, the North Vietnamese communists never gave up the goal of a unity. Ho Chi Minh, and particularly his second in command, Lê Quang, always intended to reunify the country by force if necessary. They realized they were pretty weak in the French. In 1959, reunification by force became the official Vietnamese policy. They formed an irregular army which came to the Vietnamese Vietnam to operate in South Vietnam to destabilize the regime. This was in addition to North Vietnam's regular national army. The Viet Cong and North Vietnamese armed forces are separate, remember that, but they were working toward the same overarching thus the name for gold. The North Vietnamese communists were also helping install colonies friendly to them in other parts of China. Here, this whole area was focused a lot on revolutionary struggle. But in the 1950s and 1960s, the communist world was fractured. The Soviet Union under Khrushchev and the People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong, had fallen out with each other, certainly by 1949. The North Vietnamese wanted and received help in their struggle from both communist trades. The split between them continually complicated politics in this period. As for the United States, they really didn't care about South Vietnam or Laos. So, just after World War II, President Harry Truman had developed the American foreign policy, containment, which meant preventing the expansion of communist influence anywhere it did not exist. Anti-communism became a political religion, particularly after the government of China allied to flip to communism when Mao finally won the 20-year Chinese Civil War in 1990. Truman got blamed for quote-unquote losing China to the communists as if it was never his time. So the Korean War, which involved an attempt by communist North Korea to take non-communist pro-American South Korea with arms entrenched, flexing, anti-communist. In 1952, Dwight Eisenhower, a Republican, won the election to become communist president. It was during Eisenhower's two terms in the 1950s the concept of the domino gained currency in the business schools. This was the idea that if one country in a region of the world flipped to communism, others would quickly fall one by one. Eisenhower and his people, John Foster Dulles, strongly believed in this idea, and particularly in Southeast Asia. Eisenhower, more than any president who had come before him, developed the technique of using covert operations, often directed by the CIA and to some degree the military, to shore up pro-U.S. regimes overseas and to interfere with hostile, usually remaining communists who left the. This appeared terribly sinister, and often genuinely was, but there was something of a desperation strategy about it. Eisenhower was reluctant to commit American military forces directly in various places around the world to fight communist regimes, especially after the war. He knew Congress and the American public wouldn't get on with wars of that nature, which most of the world liked colonialism ventures. So, with direct commitment of troops off the top, at least on a large scale, what was left were behind the scenes covert operations to prop up this regime that or destabilize one or another. The bureaucracy of American intelligence and military apparatus, people today call it the deep state. And to turn the landing of these sorts of operations into one of the central functions. I said a moment ago that Eisenhower was reluctant to commit American forces directly with the world to fight the communist expansion. That is true, but it's only barely true. He and his advisors did strongly consider intervening directly in Vietnam in 1994, as soon as the French were defeated, to prevent a communist victory over anywhere. Using nuclear weapons was even part of these discussions, though I don't know how serious that was. The point is, there were theoretical plans, at least on paper, for a major direct escalation of military conflict in nearly 11 years before it actually happened. Now, that does not mean that escalation was decided upon and waiting in the wings for 11 years for an excuse to implement it. It's not that. There are reasons why Eisenhower told you like Kennedy. What Eisenhower did do beginning in 1959 was to send American military personnel to support and prop up South Vietnam in the conflict in Vietnam, which was constantly fighting. These American troops were euphemistically called advisors, and they were not supposed to participate in combat against the forces. By the time he left office in early 1961, this was as far as Eisenhower was willing to go toward his plans to reunify the force. John F. Kennedy, the new president of the Democratic Party, inherited this mess, as well as a democratic crisis in Laos, which was
Oh my God.
by the time Kennedy
God, I hate Discord.
within the U.S. government that, like it or not, generally didn't like it. American policy was tied to Diem, president/dictator of South Vietnam. Diem was vain and intelligent, generally more interested in himself, expanding in power, and administration. Successive U.S. ambassadors to South Vietnam spent much of their time telling Diem that he better shape up and pull his country together to resist the war. For his part, Diem understood that the U.S., particularly Kennedy, would never desert him, no matter what. So why should he stick his neck out when he could continually call upon the United States? More money, more military, more lives, all this would the Viet Cong often used terrorist tactics. Bombing here, assassination there. Classic tactic of theirs was to have one of their people sneak up on the base of American allies or state and jump a bomb into the war with a machine gun and spray bullets. And of course, they targeted South Vietnamese military installations too. South Vietnam's government was completely infiltrated North Vietnamese spies. The whole thing was just in the spring of 1963, Diem's mismanagement created a new crisis for Kennedy. So Diem, a Catholic, always favored Catholics in his part of society, but a majority of Vietnam's people included exactly what percentage is disputed, but it does seem to be the majority. In May 1963, street protest by police against discrimination was put down violently by Diem's police and military, and a number of civilians were killed. Diem acted slowly and dragged his feet in response. Americans were outraged. Diem's repression against his majority in his own country cast a very public doubt on whether South Vietnam was as truly aligned with the United States as American officials had been insisting for years that it was. From this point on, Kennedy realized that Diem was a lost cause. Intelligence services had been feeding in information, rumors that a coup against Diem was afoot inside Congress. Kennedy approved the coup, or at least did nothing to try to stop it. Though when it actually happened on November 2nd, 1963, 20 days before it was looked at, he was horrified by the result. A group of ambitious generals rose up against Diem and his brother.
Fuck. It's already 10:50. Fuck.
Now, the White House had the choice
Okay.
to hope that whoever took control in South
So much has gone on.
stabilize the country and stabilize the
Yeah, it's almost 12 where you are. I'm just dealing with all these there's all these DMs are hitting me. Just lots of nosy people and dealing with my ex, and it's just a lot of weird stuff going on.
Kennedy's policy of Vietnam was essentially incoherent.
Oh yeah, Arizona.
You can watch my nearly 4-hour video series from 2022 about how to be true. The new president, Lyndon Johnson, inherited the Vietnam mess from Johnson. Jay was reluctant to get more detail on Vietnam, and he had two much bigger priorities: attention to civil rights and winning the election in 1960. Thus, as big a mess as Vietnam was at the end of 1963 and the first half of 64, it went on the back burner as much as possible. But of course, throughout that period, the covert and not so covert operations advisors was still going on. One of those operations, it turns out, was crucial to the story of how this happened. I will turn to that in the next chapter. Y'all know I love country music, but today I'm serving up something a little closer to home. Welcome to Canes. It's me, Todd. What can I get you? Today I'm raising funds with Raising Canes and my buddy Todd Graves from the Brett Boyer Foundation, a foundation dedicated to funding congenital heart disease research and uplifting the Down syndrome community. Ain't nothing like great food and a great cause. Raising Canes Chicken Fingers and the Brett Boyer Foundation. One love. Everyone's going to do this in social posts. Illustrate. This is where your audience is. I realize that. Check out. It's all on YouTube or TV. You're missing the audience. And TV is not just awareness. This is where we're at today. This is the tools already. You said if you want to have your budget and upload your grades, this is the cheapest. We're now integrating with Shopify. So you can have Shopify checkout on TV. You can now buy your products on TV with their Roku remote. Zero friction. Your ads will run next to premium content. So when you see something they like, just buy with the remote and check out happening on TV. If you run an e-com business, your customers are on the couch. Do your checkout there. And the best part, you can get started today for $5. was supposed to be a South Vietnamese operation, but in reality, the missions were heavily backed up by American military personnel, those quote-unquote advisors that Eisenhower and JFK had been sending into the country. But there were other nationalities too. Some Taiwanese took part in a few things. There were also reports of West Germans and Norwegians taking part, often among the crews of the Swift boats that carried commanding teams on the coast. The whole thing was very murky. The idea was to keep as many American fingerprints off the operations as possible, as if anybody could be fooled if they weren't being directly supported by the U.S. government and military. At first, these covert operations were directed mostly by the CIA. But by 1963, William Colby, head of the CIA's Far East Division, became CIA director, was starting to sour. Shenanigans. The U.S. military, especially the Navy, increasingly took over guidance, including even more Robert McNamara, Secretary of Defense, that this action would be cloaking daggers was dumb and didn't work. But McNamara agreed. In the summer of 1963, the Navy came up with a new plan for these operations. I really dislike all the silly, ominous-sounding military intelligence agency acronyms that pop up in the story, and I try not to use them. But there's no way around this one, which was called Operation Plan 3463, OPM. And the plan was modified in the next few months. Not long after attaining office in the wake of Kennedy's assassination, President Lyndon Johnson approved the revised Economic Plan 34A, which had several different projected phases. One of the major objectives of Plan 34A focused on Vietnam. The major preoccupation of South Vietnam and the American government was what they called infiltration, meaning North Vietnamese agents in Vietnam moving into South Vietnam from the north to carry on the civil war there, or supplying the ones who were already there. South Vietnam was horribly corrupt, and it was pretty easy for communist agents to get into the country, whether on boats, on the coast, or on land, across a route that Americans designated Iwo Jima Trail. A huge amount of military operations in the Vietnam War were aimed at stopping this infiltration. That was effective in the long run as trying to plug leaks in the whole boat that's already water. Part of the reason why this idea was so useless is that Vietnam, both north and south, has a very long coast. I mean, look at it on the map. There's no way you're going to control this whole coast that goes ashore, no matter how big a navy you've got. The Vietnamese coast was and is heavily trafficked by small boats. A lot of them fishing stingrays. They just sort of drift around out there catching fish. And if you're a North Vietnamese agent wanting to smuggle weapons or explosives to your fellow agents in South Vietnam, what better way to do it than load your stuff aboard a small, ordinary sampan and blend it with the fishing vessels? This is why American military planners were interested in trying to control the coast. Raids and spy movie stuff was also conducted on the coast. The Navy SEALs had teams trained to infiltrate the coast of North Vietnam, and they did their best to train the South Vietnamese how to do it. Because of all this activity along the coast, the North Vietnamese would naturally have a navy. Their mission was to patrol the coasts and facilitate the movement of weapons, supplies, and agents into South Vietnam to carry on there. The North Vietnamese didn't have any big ships. The main type of craft in their navy were gunboats called Shantou class, known by Americans as Swatows. They were built in China about 83 feet long, 25 meters, and they were lightly armed with 37 millimeter machine-guns. They also had about a dozen Soviet gunboats called T-4s, about 66 feet long and a little over 20 meters. They were smaller and lighter than the Shantou class gunboats. They did carry torpedo tubes, theoretically capable of sinking a large vessel. This is an island called Han Bay on the coast of Vietnam. We're not going to get to see a lot of the terrain of Vietnam in this video, but having taught an online course on the subject and heavily utilizes notifications, I can tell you that most Americans have a very distorted view of what the physical environment of Vietnam is like. Most of it comes from movies. This island base located in the Gulf of Tonkin is where the North Vietnamese Navy sometimes based its gunboats, such as on the night of the first Gulf of Tonkin attack. In addition to the action movie shenanigans provided by Plan 34A, the U.S. Navy also conducted something called DeSoto patrols. DeSoto was another acronym standing for Haven Special Operations Town. Basically, a local module full of electronic surveillance equipment and sweaty guys wearing headphones would be looking on board a Navy ship which would
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if your boyfriend is really staying at his old rental home or if he's staying with an ex. Going by your cards, the Justice card in the primary position and reverse does show already that something isn't really on the level between the two of you right now in terms of communication, which Seven of Cups in the secondary position in reversed is alluding to the fact that there is something involving someone else, most likely the ex, is the way that it's leaning. Six of Wands in the final position in reverse shows that it does seem like he's trying to stay with an ex right now. You don't really have to worry about the other woman, but there definitely is something going on with the ex. Now, if you want to know more details about what the future holds between the two of you, as well as anything else that might come up involving this ex, you can give me a call or send me a message. Oh, fuck. God, I gotta fix this. I gotta get my questions back on track because I'm getting creamed. They're gonna keep downvoting my profile until I get this fixed. Fuck. God. They're hammering me. Which I've been here like two hours, almost 3. So I guess I can wrap it up here. I actually will respond to your texts around midnight because you did ask that question. Just send me a reminder. I've gotta knock this drama stuff out. But I'll see you tomorrow. Oh my God, I hate these people. Okay, let me turn that off.